Hello and welcome to another End User Talk podcast. I'm your hostess, Jamila, your Lady in Tech. Hello, I want to welcome you to the End User Talk podcast. Thank you for joining me today. Our special guest of this episode is going to be Chef Sonya Dorsey.
Hello, I am exceptionally well today. Thank you for asking. How are you?
You know what? I'm doing well. I'm glad we were able to finally touch base and connect and get our schedules in alignment. And it's happening. The magic is actually happening.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we get started, for those who may be aware of who Chef Sonya Dorsey is and those who are being introduced today, do you mind explaining or just giving us a brief introduction?
Okay, I am Executive Chef Sonya Dorsey. I am the owner, the CEO of Definitely Dorsey. Well, I have three businesses. So we have Definitely Dorsey, Designer Cakes and Catering, Saucy Sonya Spices, and our new venture, which is Kaked Cosmetics. And so I am the co-owner of all three.
Well, I like that. That if that is not entrepreneurship at its best.
Oh, yes. I love it.
Well, that's great. So we crossed paths. I guess it's been a year now. Mm-hmm. And at that particular time, you were over I became introduced to you through your sauces, your seasonings.
Yes.
Which I might add, I really have enjoyed. They have really brought some interesting tastes and expectations with my steaks. I like to cook steak every once in a while. So those seasonings, that's how I came, how we met, and you gave me some samples of those. And so I've really, really and truly enjoyed those. But before we get into the current, what I'd like to know is how exactly did you get started? How did cooking become a part of?
It's actually been a part of my life, my entire life. I'm a Louisiana native, and when you're growing up in Louisiana, it's kind of like you're going to learn how to cook if you don't do anything else. And I have culinarians in my family. Both of my grandmothers were chefs. And so what started off being what I had to do because I needed, for business purposes with my future with the family, it ended up being a passion, something I really love to do. So I started baking when I was 6 years old, baking from scratch, and started cooking entire meals, even working back at a house in the family restaurant when I was 9. So I've been doing this a long time.
Well, that sounds like a long time. I know myself personally, I do remember being in the kitchen with my grandmother and my mother, who were preparing meals for the family, whether that be just on a regular daily basis or over the holidays. Now, of course, most of us who were ever allowed in the kitchen during the cooking, that was an honor. Everybody can't go in the kitchen when we're preparing meals, because it's some serious things happening in there. And there's some recipes we can't allow certain ingredients and certain processes to get out. So to be allowed in the kitchen, to be a part of all of that, it's also a matter of fellowship, so if nothing else, it was just that part of it. I can't say that, many people, even being present, are inspired enough to say that they want to take this on as themselves as a future venture. Who wants to cook for the rest of their lives, per se? And that's the kind of the way we look at it. Right. Cooking is either a chore or it's something that, you just do because we have to eat.
Right.
But to consider it as a passion, that's a whole nother spectrum. So you started out with, you said desserts or design, baking.
Yes.
Of every aspect that you do, is there one particular thing of your area of expertise that you prefer doing?
And I get that question all the time because it's funny because most people, if you love to cook, you don't love to bake. And if you love to bake, you don't love to cook. And I'm just not that person. I actually love it all. I love to bake and I love to cook. So honestly, there's not one above the other that I like to do. And I know that's weird. I just love the creating part of it. And the fact that I actually incorporate each into each other, you just have to be so meticulous when you're baking, and then so I just kind of add all of that flair into everything I do. So I can't even say I love one over the other. I don't. I love them both equally.
And that's fair. That's fair. It's kind of hard sometimes to say, well, I'm better at this, so this is where my preference is. So, right. No, I definitely understand. I mean, it's preparing meals. I mean, it's a complete circle. You have dessert, you have your side dishes, you have your main dish, you have, you're either preparing again for the family or you're preparing in a setting like yours, more professional. Right. Let me ask you this though, the preparation that you take in preparing for your family, I'm sure it's totally different from the attention to detail that you take when you're preparing as a business.
So what's funny that you mentioned that my family think, oh my God, presentation is everything for me. Let me just say that. And so when I prepare food for my family, it's crazy because it's just like I'm working for one of the celebrities. I have a whole presentation. It's a whole thing for me. I have the setups, I have napkins and forks and pretty plates, and I have big displays. So my family they're used to that. They're used to this big show whenever I cook, and they love it. And I've been doing it for so long, it's second nature to me. Plating, I plate their plates. Their plates are just as if I was out there cooking for some big person. So it's a lifestyle for me. It's not just business. And I think that's what has kept me over 30, 40 years into it, because of the presentation side of it.
Well, you know what? Presentation is important, but I think that's very special. And I don't necessarily know that it's unique to also have the same mindset for your family, because clearly at home, we don't have to be as polished. Right. At home, we can be relaxed, and I don't have to go all out. It's just time to eat. All the preparation, that's a little longer time that I have to wait before I can actually put this in my mouth and enjoy the results of all.
I'm pretty quick. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty fast. I've been used to doing it for so long and working, in various restaurants growing up where you don't have time to waste. And so I'm pretty in there and out of there, and the table is set up and they're ready to eat. So it's not a long process for me.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm a planner. I'm one of those people who I'm up sometimes 3, 4 o'clock in the morning planning what this day is gonna look like. So I'm not really caught off guard most of the time. And so I kind of know when I go in there, I'm gonna get it done, and then I'm out, and then bam, we're ready to eat.
Right. Now, this is a good segue because you just stated you plan, you have preparation. Right. So everything that you're about to do is not last minute.
Right.
When the segue where I'm heading with this is in the event of when you're in a competition or in a cooking show, you don't always have this time to prepare.
No. No, not at all. Not at all. And it's get in, and the surprises and whatever they put on you or sneak on you, you have to always have that mindset that there is no element of surprise. And that's what has helped me even I was a culinary instructor for 3.5 years. And so I always have this element of surprise thing in the back of my mind. So I'm kind of preparing myself for whatever. You have to be, especially in competition. You have to be prepared for whatever, because it's no telling what may happen.
Since we're talking about the element of surprise and preparation, are there any competitions that you personally have participated in?
Yes. In 2018, was it 18 or 19? I did a chop competition at the Perot Museum for Save Food Waste Day. It was sponsored by Kroger and the Perot Museum. And so it was a chop competition where they chose me to go up against Wolfgang Puck's, one of his executive chefs. And I was kind of outnumbered, but I won. So I was really excited, even to think that I actually beat one of Wolfgang Puck's executive chefs. It's like he is one of the most prosperous restaurateurs in the entire world. So it was amazing. I was nervous, but I did it. So it was really exciting.
That's amazing. Now, the type of food prep, are you someone who's able to prepare any type of meal, or do you have a particular expertise in meal preparation style?
So my favorite types of food to prepare is Italian. I love Italian cuisine. I love pastas. I love sauces. And I am a saucier, so I love to make sauces. I can prepare pretty much anything, but my love is Italian. Like I just love the basil and the tomatoes and all of those, just putting all that stuff together. And I'm a greedy girl too, so I love to eat. So.
Well, I am too, so I definitely enjoy eating. Well, congratulations on winning that particular competition, and I'm sure it was an honor. Everybody who is in the food world and aware of the food world, and a lot of these chefs, they are aware of Wolfgang Puck. So definitely to be able to be in a competition with one of his head chefs, and to be able to battle head to head with someone like that, that is definitely an honor. So congratulations.
It was. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was different. It was different because I was in his house. It was, since it was put on by the Wolfgang Puck organization, all of their people were there and they were cheering him on. So yeah, I went to his house and showed out.
So you were kind of the underdog coming in.
I was definitely the underdog. And I tell you, it was amazing the way they embraced me being a Black executive chef and female. Because honestly, when you think about cooking, you think about women, but male chefs, and especially French chefs, they dominate most of the culinary industry. So it is a male-driven industry. And so when women come in and we can actually make our mark, and especially being an African-American female, that was so big to me. He gave me an autographed bottle of wine, and I won't open it. I still haven't opened it to this day. So it was an honor for me.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because in our culture, in the Black culture, we've always prepared. We've always been in servitude roles, throughout history.
Right.
And what I've always found a little troublesome is that when I look at television and I watch the Food Network, and I used to watch a lot of the cooking shows, and what was very troubling is knowing our history and knowing that we cook. We've constantly been in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And not to see many shows with lead Black male and females in these areas. And I'm not just speaking with soul food. I don't want us to be isolated to just soul food. I'm talking about, like you just said, in Italian cuisine, French cuisine. We don't see much of it. what do you say about that, being in where you are and also rubbing shoulders with people who are in those areas? What is your opinion or your point of view on why there isn't enough of us there in representing all of the areas that we are?
So I think it's fear. I'm going to be honest, because I know I right offhand 10 Black, except, African American executive chefs who are amazing. They work for, a lot of them are in downtown Dallas. Of course, executive chef Tiffany Derry, who is amazing. She is a 5-star restaurantee. I love her work. And she has done, a lot of the TV shows and everything. There are a lot of us out there, but a lot of them are so afraid of failure. They're so afraid that when we step out into the light that we're not going to be received. And they do the French cuisine and make the European dishes and chocolatiers as well. I'm a chocolatier as well. And so I just think that it's fear of not being accepted, or and a lot of times going to the bigger shows, the Food Network shows, they're not picked. And and we've sent in numerous videos and all of these things to go on Food Network. And we've gotten some word back and some things back. And when we were getting ready to make the casting and everything, COVID hit. So we were about to go on some of the bigger Food Network shows, but it's fear. And it's fear of rejection, and it's fear of not being accepted and looked at crazy. So I just feel that that's a lot of why you don't see enough of us on those shows and in that platform.
Well, do you think that it would be better for us to create our own platforms? If I look at what, Oprah Winfrey is doing with the television networks, and Tyler Perry, buying it, having enough power to get people to invest into them and help them build their own studios and help them invest into their own networks so that we can present us in a light, actually a true light.
Right.
On how things. Do you think that this would maybe change the face of food? Because, there are a lot of people out here who are striving to do certain things. And, as Black people, I won't say all of us, but some of us have heard that Black people don't do this.
Right. So I have, and it's amazing that you say that, because my husband is a chef as well. And so we have had local production companies to reach out to us because we have such a big social media platform. And I do, live videos on Facebook, cooking demos and all of this. We have had local platforms to reach out to us and say, hey, we want you guys to do a cooking show and let's see where this goes. And so, but with the major networks, I've reached out to Tyler Perry, and I've emailed Oprah's A&R people, and I've emailed these people and say, hey, we're here. We would like an opportunity, and we don't hear back. So I don't know that if it's the screening process of why they don't get back with us. I don't know if they have people there who say, oh, well, these are just mediocres and we don't want to present them because of XYZ. I don't know. But I think that if they saw us and if they could give us that opportunity, that we could start more of the African American cooking shows. And, they need to know that we cook more than beans and collard greens. We actually make amazing cuisines, and we actually create, foods that are 5-star restaurant quality foods.
Agreed.
But it's just, reaching out and not hearing back. And I haven't gotten discouraged from reaching out to them. It's just when I don't hear back from them, I just move on to the next thing,
And I agree. You definitely, it's better to have tried than to sit up and wonder, if, instead of making an effort to bring yourself to their attention. Now it's up to them as to whether or not they will reply, and hopefully in due time they will. But, that is another thing within our community. And I'm not speaking any ill will of Tyler Perry or Oprah Winfrey or anyone else, in those positions. I know it's hard because, when you get to a certain level, everybody's wanting you to kind of help them, if you will.
Right.
But within, our community, there have been a lot of occasions or situations to where someone has made it. They've gotten the platform, and you do have other people who are wanting you to take them under their wing, per se. And you have some individuals who feel like, you know what, I'm not going to help you, whether that be a matter of you stealing the limelight from me.
Right.
Or, it's that crabs in a barrel mentality where,
right.
You see someone else getting up there, and instead of you turning around and reaching down to help the next person behind you, you close the lid, you walk away.
Right.
Forget about those people. I know that is something within our community as well that we struggle with. What challenges have you, and you've touched on a few of them, but have there been any challenges that you have faced or obstacles, one being a Black woman in this industry, that have made things a little harder than they have?
Well, I faced being, other races trying to pretty much bully. They feel that being, I don't know if it's because of the stature or whatever they're thinking. I've had other people to try to bully me. It doesn't go over as well with me because I'm not, a scary type person. However, there's still a type of integrity that you have to have about yourself. And so it's hard because you're trying to, you don't want that ghetto stigma. However, you have to defend yourself. And so whenever I've had that to happen, I've had to kind of tuck tail sometime, and that's hard. That's really hard for me because I'm an alpha female. So I'm all about myself. I'm all about telling people about themselves. Sometimes you just have to tuck tail, and that's hard for me. And when it's happened, I've talked to other people. How do you handle this? What should I do? Because, my first go-to thing, and I'm going to be honest with you, is to get angry. But you can't get angry all the time. Sometimes you just have to sit back and let the process happen. And so when it's happened to me in the past, I followed the rules. I spoke up. I told this person and told that person. Now, when it didn't work, that's when I had to say, hey, we're not going to do this. You're not going to talk to me that way. You're not going to treat me that way. And so just the bullying and people thinking they know everything and, putting that cap on the Black woman. Oh, she's just loud, rambunctious, blah, blah, blah. But, I've had to fight a lot to be who I am and to get where I've been. And I've had to leave some things behind. I've had to leave some people and some things that were very important to me to keep my integrity and to keep my sanity.
That's it's interesting that you say that. It doesn't matter. I've had the honor of interviewing a lot of people in different industries. And one of the main things, and it doesn't matter what industry or what field it's in, as Black women, we're always considered hostile. Mm-hmm. We're always considered as, and it's just a matter of you speaking up for yourself. And who wants to cow down all the time, and who wants to constantly be a yes man or
exactly.
When you have a skill or you're a subject matter expert in your field or whatever that area is, you shouldn't have to constantly defend yourself and constantly have to keep proving yourself to whom? Who sets this status quo that states that I've gone through school, I've got the training, I have the business, and for some of us, businesses, I have the resume built already. Who are you to discredit or to question my abilities?
Well, they fear. They fear what they don't understand. They don't understand. And it's not that they don't understand because they don't understand. It's they don't understand because they don't care to understand. They don't, certain people are so used to having their way and being able to talk and say and do as they please to where it's second nature to them. And so, and it's just like, and I'm glad you said that about, as far as the education, I have a bachelor's in psychology. I'm not a dum-dum. I'm just a woman who is trying to make her way because I want to be able to, like you were saying, I want to be able to one day lend a hand to bring other people up behind me. I don't want to just stop with being an entrepreneur. I want to be an entrepreneur who helps other entrepreneurs to get to where they need to be if that's their sole desire. But a lot of people fear that if you get a certain power or you get this certain prestige or whatever, that they're going to be looked upon as inferior. And so that's in their head. And it's, unfortunately, that's a mindset we can't change.
And what's interesting is one might say that this particular area, this field that you're trying to get in it's already overwhelmed. You're not going to make headway. There's already people doing this, and we have the best already doing it. So you're going to be a needle in a haystack. And that is a way to discourage, that it's just a sense of discouragement.
Right. And the wonderful thing about the food industry is it's trending. It continuously trends. And there's something always different. There's a different and new way of doing everything that we're doing. It's an easier way to do it. And so you just have to have in your mind that you're a trendsetter, that you, regardless of how people look at you, regardless of how people see you, that you're different. I'm different. I can make a difference. I can do something that's different. I can do something that's unique that you haven't seen before. And that's why I want the future chefs to come up and know that you're necessary. What you do is necessary. And you're not just another number. You're not just a needle in the haystack. You're different. Your mindset is different. And so to keep pushing at what you're doing, food is not going anywhere. There's a lot of things that's going places, but food is not.
That's right. It's sustainable. And
it's right. And so
it's one of those things. It's just like the healthcare industry. It's not going anywhere. It's hairstylists. They're not going anywhere. Barbers.
Right.
So, one more is not going to break the mold.
It's not. And then you have this opportunity, though, to show people, hey, check this out. Oh, wow, that's something different. Okay, I have a daughter that cooks, and she makes the weirdest stuff I've ever seen. But it's so awesome because when I go and whenever she shows me something or sends me something, I'll go and Google it. And I'm like, that's not even on Google. Like, if it's not on Google, you got something, And so don't let people and what they're saying stifle your talents, because I just feel like God gave us all so many different talents. Even if it's alike, it's different because it's you and you're unique. So you can't let people stifle that energy, that know-how. You just have to keep fighting. That's what I did. I didn't let people tell me. I had a instructor one time when I was in culinary college to say, "Why are you here? You already know X, Y, and Z." Well, I'm here to get a degree, because that holds weight. That you don't have to have a degree to be a chef, because that's something you don't have to. But I wanted to teach. And so I needed that degree, and it helped me to get the job teaching. So, you're necessary. Don't let people tell you that you're not. Your skill is necessary.
And that's the one thing when you are delving into any industry or any, whether it's a hobby or it's in corporate America, if it's entertainment, whatever it is, there's a lot of it out there. Yes. But everybody is not going to like everything.
That's right.
And everyone that's presenting this everyone has a unique purpose. Everyone has a unique ability, because just because you are able to do something doesn't mean that you are receptive to others, or
That's
others
true.
are receptive to you in the manner in which you present something. Some people, they're a little bit more rough around the edges, but they're
Right.
likable.
Right.
You know, we talked about presentation. Maybe my presentation isn't as good as yours, but it still tastes good. It's still edible. You know, so we also have to keep in mind that when we're getting out here, there are going to be challenges that face us. But we also need to understand that we are lending to this field, and you just have to find your niche, find your space, and you stay in your lane.
Right. And you can't get offended when somebody doesn't like something you make. Do you know how many people have told me, I don't like that? And it doesn't matter. Okay, well, you know, we all have different tastes. We all have different acquired, ways we present things. And so, you know, we need to be in a space to where we can accept when somebody doesn't necessarily care for what you're doing. You should never give up. And that's what I would tell the culinarians coming up. Don't give up just because somebody says they don't like what you're doing or something like that. Because, you know, everybody's not going to like what you do. Trust me. Not even because not even because it's not likable. It wasn't amazing, but some of them just do it out of jealousy, just to break you down to see where your threshold is and how you can hold up. Because I'm going to tell you, being a culinarian is not for the faint at heart at all.
Yes, you are talking. That is so right. You are speaking a word, and it can apply to any and everything that we do.
Right.
But you mentioned being an instructor, and as I was researching some of the things that you have had your hands in, which you've done a lot.
Yes,
I do want to talk about, because to be perfectly honest, you actually are giving back. You have given back. I do recall when our initial meeting, you talked about at a point in time in your life, and I hope it's okay for me to mention this, a stint of homelessness.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. My children and I am a domestic abuse survivor. And during that time, my children and I lost everything. And he really, you know, not only did he try to take my life, but I had a job to where he quit for me. And I didn't even know that he had quit my job until I went back. And so in the midst of all of that, my children and I were homeless, and we had to sleep in my car. And it was a rough time for us. It was. But, you know, I just didn't give up. I'm not good on giving up. Like, that's just not something I'm good at. I'm good at a whole lot of things, but giving up is just not one of them. And so it's just me, that fight in me. And I say that because I'm going to tell you, I've overcome so many things you just wouldn't believe. It. I've overcome a lot.
Well, I'm glad that you're comfortable with speaking about that. And the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because because they don't know you, people assume that everything in your life has been good. And a lot of times when you've come to your peak in your life, whatever that success is, people are only seeing you at this point. They don't see the road traveled.
Oh my God. I love that you said that. And I speak on it all the time. I get people saying, well, you're here, and so you can't understand. And I have to go back, honey. I have been homeless, hungry. My daughter, when my first husband and I separated and eventually divorced, my daughter and I slept on the back of a vacant house. So when I see people, and I'm gonna be honest with you, this is gonna bless somebody. When my husband and I came to Texas, we had actually both just lost our jobs, and we depleted all of our savings that we had. When we came to Texas, we were homeless. We slept on the floor of my daughter's apartment. We had lost everything. This was in 2012. So we came here homeless. And so, you know, QT saved our life. We would eat those 2 for $2 hot dogs and get those 50-cent sodas. And that's how we survived for a while, you know, until we, you know, found jobs and eventually started our business.
You know, that is very, very encouraging because, you know, we all are right now living in a period of time where COVID has attacked, and it's just run rampant in so many people's lives. In most cases, when you run into things like this, only a certain group of people are affected or impacted. At this point, COVID does not care if you're male, doesn't care if you're female, doesn't care if you're black, you're white, you're rich, you're poor, you're middle class. It doesn't care if you're educated. It doesn't care. So we are living in a period right now where there are a lot of people who have never suffered, or who haven't had a lot of struggles, we'll say.
Right.
But now they are faced with job loss. They're faced with homelessness. They're faced with wondering where their next meal is coming from, and not to mention the individuals who were already suffering before this hit.
Right.
So I want to thank you first and foremost for sharing that and being honest. A lot of people feel like when you struggle, that's failure. That's something to be shameful. It's a shameful event in your life. And a lot of people don't overcome that, so they are defeated. But I am glad that you were able to fight through and get to the point that you are, and also turn around and help people who are either going through or about to go through, or who are just about at the end of their journey.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I came in this world fighting. My mother, unfortunately, she was a domestic abuse survivor as well. I look back at it, and I used to hear the story of how my biological father beat me out of my mom, and he drove her from California to Shreveport and threw her on the emergency room floor at Confederate Memorial Hospital. I was still attached to her. And so I was 4 pounds, 3 ounces. And so I look back at that. I came in this world fighting. So who am I to not keep fighting for whatever reason? I'm not going to ever stop fighting, whether it be for me, whether it be for somebody who needs me, or whether it be for somebody who wants me on their team. I'm going to always be that person.
And through your stories, your speaking engagements, and you sharing these conversations and these private discussions and personal, and also, they hurt, you sharing those. But at the same time, I see that you also offer opportunities to feed the homeless and in shelters, those who are sheltered. You also have, you are offering culinary arts lessons. Can you expound on those efforts that you're giving back to the community?
Yes. So I actually, I'm not with that organization anymore. But for 3.5 years, we did offer a program that were, to help those who would not have necessarily been able to get those opportunities. And unfortunately, when COVID hit, it kind of, wrecked that funding for that particular organization. And it was really hard hit, and I hate it, but it was an amazing opportunity for me to teach people who otherwise would not have gotten that type of culinary training. And so what was the amazing part about it was I wrote the entire curriculum, and I wrote it from my teachings when I was in culinary school. And so they were able to get the same type of training, but they got it for free. And so I still am working with a couple of organizations that are going to, as soon as, we get the go ahead from Dallas County, whatnot, that we'll be able to offer that same type of teaching. So I'm excited about that. So, later on, I'll be able to give you more information as they work out, everything they have to work out to make that happen.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, we all know that education in school, getting trades and learning these types of skills, it comes at a cost. So I, for one, would love to hear more about that as soon as it is up and running again. But I think that's amazing that you were able to offer that to individuals for free. So
it was for free. Yes, ma'am.
Man, I applaud you. Definitely. That is amazing. With that being said, there are a lot of people out here now who are looking, they love the food service industry and they would like to partake in it in some way, form, or fashion. When you are actually looking to hire individuals in any one of your areas and any one of your businesses, what exactly are you looking for when you hire someone?
So what I'm looking for is a person who just wants to succeed. I don't care I'm not really necessarily looking for people with a particular background or necessarily with a particular experience, because we all have a story. And so just because this person may have been, in jail or in trouble or whatever, everybody has a story. So I would like to afford the opportunity for anyone who just wants to learn, who wants to enhance what they know, or just be able to be employable at some point with somebody else to have that opportunity. So it's not just necessarily that they have to have a certain skill set. They just have to want it. Like that's all I ask for. Just if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to get out here and let's do this, then let's do it. Let's make our mark.
I like that. That's fair. Before we are getting to a close here, but what I do want to find out, we talked about your seasonings. So what I want to know, the titles and the names that you came up with I guess jaw dropping to some. Yeah. And I have to admit, when I first read yours and I'm trying to tell my relatives and different people about it, it's like, here, you read it. Let's talk about that.
So I get that a lot. And so I wanted, when people see our seasonings, I wanted it to catch their eyes before it hit their stomach. And I know that it does. So there's kind of this little thing. So we have the buck ass naked, and it's AZZ, so it's buck ass naked, but you know what we're saying. And it's corn. It tastes so good, it make you get out your clothes. So that's why hence buck ass naked. And then we have one called Booty Butt Cheeks. And that one's a little bit more, I have to censor that one, but it's actually one of, so Buck Ass Naked, Booty Butt Cheeks is one of, those are actually the top sellers. The Black Jesus blackening season, it'll bless your meal. My husband, he has long locks and he has the beard. So people over the course of the last 8 or 9 years call him Black Jesus, and it's JEZUZ. So we don't disrespect, any form of religious
right.
people or whatever. So, and it says it'll bless your meal, and so it's still kind of the Black Jesus thing. But yeah, we get quite a few questions about the names. We over the past couple years.
I can imagine. I definitely imagine. And, but that's all in branding too, so you don't want to get overlooked. You got something, your presentation is great. The taste is amazing. But if you don't have a vehicle that is able to take it to the level in which people are like, when they're walking down the aisles and they're seeing all of these names, right. you want to stand out because there are a lot of seasonings to choose from.
Yes,
but you want people to go down that aisle and look at this one and, you know what, I'm going to try.
Yes. And it's funny because we were in one of the local markets and we had a lot of Caucasian people. Sometimes I was there setting up our products, and this lady, she walked in and she said, Black Jesus. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to say something. She said, oh my God, I want to try this. It says Black Jesus and it'll bless your meal. And so this was in North Richland Hills. So, in that vicinity, what type of people live there. And we sold out. They were buying it just because of the name. But then when they tasted it, it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But it was so funny. The names just caught their eyes. So,
and those are gag gifts to your most religious.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes, ma'am. now.
You imagine having your that aunt that never swears.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Tell us what you got, Auntie.
And then she looking like, yeah,
Exactly. No, I'm not fixing to say that. But I think that is amazing. And hey, you know what? I appreciate the branding, and I can honestly say that I haven't tried the Black Jesus. You said it was what was it for?
It's a blackening for like your fish or your chicken when you want to blacken. Yes, and it's very popular as well.
I've not tried that, but I have tried the others, and I have to tell you all, it's good. And I'm out, so I'm gonna have to order me some more.
Yes, you can't run out. I've had people to say, please don't ever stop making this, and I'm like, I mean, not as long as y'all are buying as much as y'all buying.
You know, this is what I did want to say. How does one put these seasonings together? What's a part of that process when you're deciding I'm about to make a new seasoning, or I'm going to put a seasoning together?
Well, I've been making seasonings since I was a little girl. My papa was a butcher. And so he would always, whenever he would like do the cured and smoked meats and stuff, he always had me with him and showing me how to cure meat and how to season meat. So with me, it's second nature. It's just me putting together the taste of it all. And honestly, I've been doing it for so long. I don't even, my husband doesn't even question when I make something. It just, I don't know. It comes out it's always good. We have over 15 seasonings. We have hot sauce. We have barbecue sauce. We have tartar sauce. We have fish fry and chicken fry. It's called Fire-Ass Fish Fry. And we have, so it's second nature with me with just making it. And I love sauces and all of that kind of stuff. So all of that helps me.
You know what? You said a word today earlier within the conversation here. You said saucier. So I like that.
It's a thing, though. If you look up in restaurants, and if you look up positions, a saucier is the person that makes all the sauces. So when your restaurant, so everybody has a job. The saucier's job is to make sure that the hollandaise, the Asiagos, the whatever kind of sauces these particular restaurants are using are perfected, and that's their only job. So that's actually a thing.
All right. So you learn something every day. I do want to get into your, we all know that beauty and makeup and just a woman's presentation on a daily basis is very important. It's probably just as instrumental as and important as our eating. Yes, but I want to talk about your Kaked Cosmetic and beauty products.
Yes.
How did that get?
So growing up, I had really bad acne. And so I've always not been able to use the normal stuff that maybe people can use on their skin. And so I had a grandmother who made her own hair products and all of that type of stuff. And so she used to tell me, my nickname is Sunshine, and she was like, well, Sunshine, I want you to try this on your face. And everything broke me out. And so I just started one day. I said, you know what? I want to learn how to make my own products. And so back then I started researching. Back then we didn't have the internet. So I was reading encyclopedias and even dictionaries on the definitions of what different things for your faces and stuff. And so I started creating what I called the concoction. And back then that's what it was, because I didn't have the ingredients that other people had. And so I started making those things, and it worked. I was like, wow, it was herbs, and it was things I was getting out the garden, and it was turmeric, and she taught me how to make soap. And so I started that. Well, as I grew older, and, as I told you, I was a domestic violence survivor, my ex-husband would beat me, and he would scratch me and bite me in my face. And so at that point, it was like, I can't go around my family with these scars in my face. And so I made a scar cream, and I called it the concoction. And I used it, and lo and behold, it took the scars out of my face. And so fast forward, when COVID hit, And I modeled for a while, just to give you a little back history on that. I did over 40 modeling. And so I love the beauty industry. I've always loved it. And so when COVID hit, I was like, my face was breaking out because I was all nervous about what was going on. I wasn't cooking as much. And I got in the kitchen. I was like, and I went to sleep, and the Lord spoke to me while I was sleeping and was like, go back to beauty. Kaked Cosmetics was born. I was making hair products. I've been making hair products. I have locks. I was making the products for my husband and I, and he was like, Sonya, you can pretty much do anything. Why don't you make something for our hair? And I don't know. I started making stuff. I started doing bigger researches on how to make certain things, and got in the kitchen and tried to make lipstick, and it was horrible, and tried again. And now I've actually been trying to make lipsticks for like 5 years. And so this past August, I got really sick. I was bedbound with double pneumonia for almost a month. And I'm going to tell you something. I know people are not going to believe this, but this happened to me. While I was sick in the bed, the doctor sent me home to die. I told him I would not die in the hospital. So when she said I signed myself out AMA, I came home. The whole time I was in the bed, I was in the bed for 3 weeks. I would wake up in the middle of the night. God gave me recipes. I wrote these recipes for lipsticks for 3 weeks. When I started getting better, came in the front room, I tried it out. I was too sick. I went laid back down. I ordered everything I need because it was given to me in a dream. I promise you, this is not a lie. This happened to me. Got up that next day and made lipstick and been making it ever since. And then I started dreaming of recipes of how to make eyeshadow. And my cousin, she called me, she said, Sunshine, you've tapped into grandma and them. They used to make their own makeup and they used to make their own soap. And I just started doing it. And it's been we sold out. When we first started this makeup line, we were selling out so quick. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to keep up with the orders. And there it is.
I have so many more questions. You just
Yes, ma'am. These were given to me in a dream. This is the honest to God truth. Everything I know now about what I'm doing was given to me in a dream. This is the honest truth.
Well, Chef, you have a very, oh my goodness, I'm at a loss for words, and it doesn't happen much, but your story, your journey, I don't want to call it a story, but your journey, it's very inspirational and very empowering. I know that there are so many people who are listening and they are trying to find where so many people want to turn a hobby into a career, right. Or they're just trying to find, where do I fit? How can I break into these different industries? And we know the beauty business is oh my goodness, it's hard to break into that market and to be successful on top of it. That has opened so many different areas, but you have a day that you have to get to, but I appreciate you for sharing that information with us. But what I want to do at this point is to give you an opportunity. One, those who are listening, if you have any words of encouragement, individuals you want to thank that have been a part of this journey and been encouraging to you, how we can find you, keep in touch with you, any projects that you have that we should be looking out for. This opportunity is for you to.
Thank you. So my husband is my biggest supporter. I'm going to tell you, my husband, if I said I wanted to dig dirt and bottle it, my husband would go buy me jars to put the dirt in. He never shoots down anything. I don't care what the cost is. I don't care he believes in me so much that if I take him an idea, he wants to know what he can do to help make it happen. And so having him to push me and to believe in what I do and what I tell him, because there are a lot of people that don't have that. My daughters believe in me. They cheer me on. They call me daily. What did you come up with? What are you doing? Both of my daughters are makeup artists. They call me with stuff that's trending. They call me with stuff that they want me to make. And you know what? They believe in me, and that helps me. But most of all, I believe in myself. Like, I trust the process. If it's not good today, that doesn't mean it's going to be not good tomorrow. If it doesn't work today, doesn't mean that the formula tomorrow is not going to work. You can't give up on a dream just because it didn't work today. Nothing happened overnight for anybody. They can say, yeah, I woke up yesterday and I was a millionaire. That's not true. There was trials and tribulations before that. So you just can't give up on a dream or an idea. And I want people listening, if there's something that you're doing that somebody else is doing, who cares? There's 100 loaves of bread in the grocery store. All of them have different names, and guess what? They all sell out. Kroger's brand sell just like Nature's Own or whatever. All of it sells. So don't shoot yourself down just because you think that there's too much of it on the market. It's yours and it's different. So don't believe in what you have. Trust the process. Don't give up on yourself, and push to be great at all times. And so I have a lot of supporters from Facebook, people who've been following me, and they encourage me. And they say I encourage them, but they don't understand they encourage me. And I just, everything that I've been through in my life has built me to be who I am. I don't give up. I'm not going to give up. You can punch me and I may fall, but guess what? I'm going to get back up, and the next time you punch me, it's going to be harder to knock me down. So I want people to take that. If you want to find us, you can find, first of all, we have, Saucy Sonya Spices and Sauces. You can go to SaucySonyaSpices.com for your amazing seasonings and sauces. Our cosmetics line is Kaked Cosmetics, and you can find it at chefswhodesign.com. And everything is vegan, everything is all natural, everything is handmade by me. There's nothing outsourced except for the ingredients. And if you want to find me on Instagram, it's Chef Sonya Dorsey, Facebook, Kaked Cosmetics, and Saucy Sonya Spices on Facebook as well.
Well, I tell you, if y'all have not been inspired, empowered, motivated to keep going or to keep looking and keep digging and keep trying, failing, because failure is a part of the process.
It is.
And maybe you are discouraged, but don't give up, and also understand what is meant for you. It'll be.
Definitely.
It'll be. But thank you so much, Chef. I've been inspired, and I'm so glad that, again, we were able to connect. I hope we can stay in touch. Continued success to you and your family.
Well, thank you for this platform. You don't understand what that means to people like me. This platform is a way for us to talk about us, and we don't get that often. So thank you for that. You're amazing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And you're welcome. Amazing people, we sometimes have to be introduced to other amazing people. So
right.
That's exactly what my goal is to reach as many people as possible and allow people to just be, because, sometimes it's hard out here, and sometimes we don't get an opportunity to shine a little light on ourselves and reflect. We've come to the close of another episode of the End User Talk podcast. I hope that what you've heard today will leave you feeling empowered. Thank you for listening. And remember, every day's a training day.